So, Congressman, where do you think we are right now? This ceasefire extension, I mean, is it part of a cohesive diplomatic strategy, or is it just buying time during all this confusion?
It's just buying time during this confusion because Trump has absolutely no idea what to do next. And once again, there is no plan. There never has been a plan. And Trump himself doesn't know how to get out of this mess. So he started this war that he's losing. He's now losing the peace as well, Anderson, and he truly doesn't know what to do next.
It's interesting you say he's losing. I mean, I think back to Vietnam, where the metric that the U.S. was using was body count and, you know, number of munitions dropped, and that was the story being told by administrations, you know, for years. And on the ground, it was a different war.
It's the same story here. It's not body count right now, it's targets destroyed. And we hear about this every day. And CENTCOM and the administration say as everything's going according to plan. Well, if it's going according to plan, where was Iran closing the strait part of the plan? Where was billions of dollars of damage to Gulf allies part of the plan? Where was billions of dollars of American equipment lost and destroyed part of the plan? Where was an endless war part of the plan? They keep citing targets destroyed to try to say that we're making progress, but that doesn't have anything to do with strategic goals. We have not eliminated their nuclear weapons program. They're going to rebuild their ballistic missile programs. We did sort of achieve regime change, but we installed a more hardline regime that seems more committed to a nuclear weapon. And now we seem to be in an endless war that the president can't figure out how to get out of.
It's interesting to try to figure out who is, who's kind of driving this? Is it Iran or is it the U.S.? Because, I mean, this administration had set up these negotiations, and, you know, Vice President Vance was ready to get on a plane today, and then there was just no sign, no feedback from Iran, apparently. And then, you know, now publicly the president is saying, well, Pakistan has asked us to delay. Perhaps they did. Maybe it was at the White House urging, I'm not sure. But it certainly, to you, does it seem like the administration has control over events, or is Iran?
No, Iran has control of events. Iran is driving the bus. Every single day, the president says something about negotiations about to start, and then Iran calls his bluff. It seems that the Iranians understand Trump's mind far better than Trump understands the Iranians. And fundamentally, they have the willingness to endure the pain and stick this out. They are in a better position today than they were before this war started. I mean, remember what was happening right before Trump started his war of choice. We were negotiating with the Iranians to curtail their nuclear weapons program. We were asking them to cut back on their nuclear weapons development. Now, we're asking them to do that and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. So we're in a far worse position. And who's paying the price? The American people. 13 American soldiers are dead. I mean, Anderson, the American people are paying up at the pump. American troops are paying in. And the only ones cashing out are Trump and his family.
We had Ambassador Ryan Crocker on, very experienced in the region. Yesterday, he was basically arguing the best the U.S. can hope for right now is getting back to the status quo in the Strait of Hormuz in the short term from any negotiations, and then some sort of dealing with the nuclear issue down the road.
I mean, Ambassador Crocker is not only a far more experienced Middle East diplomat than myself, Anderson, he's 100 times more experienced than any of the people from the Trump administration trying to negotiate this deal. So I think he's right. I think the reality is that the Trump administration is begging the Iranians to come to the table because they're begging the Iranians to reopen the strait. And getting to the point where we actually have the nuclear program on the table, I mean, that would be a really good day for the United States. And let's not forget that under President Obama, the Iran nuclear deal, the first line of it was preventing Iran from ever having a nuclear weapon. And that wasn't based on trust. That wasn't President Trump saying, oh, I can try to trust these new guys. That was based on inspections, intrusive inspections, constant electronic monitoring. Yeah. The first Trump administration certified the deal was in place. So that's what Trump ripped up, a deal to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon. He's now begging to just get back to some semblance of that today.
Yeah. Congressman Seth Moulton, thank you so much for your time.